All right, foragers, so here's a quick video on how to identify chickweed, which is highly edible and delicious, from the slightly toxic, less desirable Scarlett Pimpernel. So there's some very easy ways to identify it, but check it out just right beside each other first. You can notice how it would be easy to possibly misidentify or confuse chickweed and Scarlett Pimpernel. There's a few simple ways to figure out how to not do that, how to have a confident ID you're in chickweed. So there's three factors I'm going to show you. Number one, which is very obvious, is that chickweed has petioles or leaf stems. So basically the main stem connects to these leaf stems that then give way to the leaves, okay? On Scarlett Pimpernel, you're gonna notice that the leaves connect directly to the stem. That's called sessile, where there's no leaf stem, there's no petiole whatsoever. So that's a very obvious distinguishing factor. But let's do a couple of more, just to really dive in. So, if you look really close at the chickweed, you're gonna see that there's these little white hairs running up the stem and the petiole, right? See those little white hairs? You gotta kind of zoom in on them. But you can see them if you look close. But with the Scarlett Pimpernel, totally smooth, okay? There's no hairs on that one whatsoever. Now, the last and very cool identifying feature of chickweed versus Scarlett Pimpernel is if you break this stem ever so carefully of the chickweed, which I didn't break it that carefully right there, let's try it again. There it is. You find this kind of rubbery string that runs through the stem in chickweed, okay? So that's a very obvious identifier. With Scarlett Pimpernel, you guessed it, clean break. There's no string in between. So those are the three really obvious ways to distinguish it. Now, the other factor to consider is that these grow in pretty similar climates. So you could see these right next to each other, and one could theoretically be harvesting chickweed and then actually have some Scarlett Pimpernel in there as well. So really comb through your harvests. I mean, just looking through this little chickweed harvest right now, I'm seeing this other plant that I accidentally harvested by just picking up a bunch of chickweed. So you gotta really comb through and make sure you have just what you're going for. There's a little piece of grass right there. So before I ate this, I would definitely make sure that I've gone through and gotten just chickweed, okay? So even if you know how to identify it perfectly, you still gotta be really mindful of how you harvest. Scarlett Pimpernel is not like deadly poisonous, but it's not something you wanna eat a lot of. And it's pretty freaking bitter, so you probably wouldn't swallow a whole lot of this before you realize you're eating something that's not so good. Chickweed's very mild, has a very nice, just kind of green flavor to it. It's quite a nice, pleasant experience for most. And chickweed has these little white flowers, as you may have noticed. Now, the Scarlett Pimpernel that I collected from my yard does not have flowers right now, but the flowers are more like pinkish and the kind of salmon color. Just imagine if this did have flowers. They look very similar to chickweed flowers in size. However, Scarlett Pimpernel can also have white flowers apparently in certain instances. I've never seen them personally, but I have read accounts of Scarlett Pimpernel having white flowers. So the flower color is not a distinguishing factor. But if you use those factors I just gave you, those three identifying tips, you will have chickweed 100% of the time and you can confidently eat and forage. So drop me a comment or feedback if you have anything, and I'll do my best to answer. Until next time, happy harvesting. Peace.